Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 20 of Back to the Basics, the Coach Ross football channel here. I am Coach Ross, and this is the final episode of this series. It's been a long time. I know it's taken a while to get some of these videos out. I apologize for that, but we have made it here. We are in the final video, and first of all, I want to thank everyone who has tuned into these videos and has subscribed to the channel. I appreciate that very much. It's great to see all the views happening, and I hope this series has helped. I plan on more series like this here in the future. But this was a fun series to make. It took a while, that's for sure. But again, I want to thank all the viewers and everyone that tuned in to watch these videos. Certainly helped the channel grow. So again, without saying it too many times, if you are new to the channel, if you're new to these videos, um, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you like this content, any of these other videos, subscribe to the channel again, like I said, and also give this video a like too. It helps the channel grow, helps these videos get seen, and I want to try and get these videos out to as many people as I possibly can to help anybody out who needs help. Because again, I'm here to help new coaches, even older coaches who just want to change some things around in their offensive philosophy and change from a more of a running type offense to more of a spread style offense and throwing the ball a little bit more. Um, I'm one of those coaches that like to do that, so I am more than willing to help out any coach that wishes to uh to jump down that rabbit hole of the air raid offense or even just the spread offense in general. I am definitely here to help. So, like I said, this is the last video in this series. This is going to be talking about practice plans and installation for the air raid offense, especially. This can be used for um, youth, middle school, high school, however you want. I'm going to give just basic generic stuff. It's obviously however you want to approach it, and however you want to do it. I'm just going to kind of give you some basics here and some things that I kind of use, and also going to use the template based off of a coach that I just recently helped build his program, and I'm going to be showing those videos at a later date as well. So we're going to kind of just go through a step by step. So this will be a longer video. So be prepared for that. You're more than welcome just to skip through it, have to the areas that you want to see, obviously. But again, like I said in the early portion of this intro, thank you for tuning in. It's been fun making this series. It's been a lot of work, that's for sure. It's taken a while. 20 episodes. It's not an easy feat by any means. Just especially with me starting back up with coaching again here in the fall, and going through summer workouts and stuff like that. We've been busy, so it's been tough to get these videos made out. And I did have a time schedule, and I tried to get it as close as I possibly could. So this is the final, like I said, the final video of this series. All the other videos in this series are going to be linked in the description. Go ahead and check those out. And finally, again, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I wanted to start off with is just show you the basic template that I use for my practice plans here. As you can see, this is just basic. You see, you got your quarterbacks, linebackers, running backs, linebackers, wide receivers, DBs, O-line, and it's all split into periods. Typically, I try to do like 10 periods. Now, this is just basic. This can be switched around, changed around, however you want. This is just basic things here. You see we have a platoon period here. This is kind of just used for a period where we can just go in there and just review things or go over certain things, or that could be a period where we would use to just cover a certain aspect of what maybe we need to fix, whether it be offense or defense or even special teams in that particular day. And we have one of these every single day. And eventually what happens is it gets into a period where it's okay, Monday we're going to review this, Tuesday we're going to review this, Wednesday we're going to review this, and just it's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. Excuse me. As you can see, I just plugged in water and transition breaks here. Down here, got practice notes section. We have also team offensive script, route on air script. So this can be changed to defense if you want to go for defensive script and scout O stuff. As you can see, we got play calls here, field spot, and down and distances. So these can all be changed however you want. And I have this basic template available. So if you would like to see it or have a copy of it, let me know and I will see what I can do as far as getting it to you. So this is, like I said, the basic template that I followed or that I use in my practice plans here when I make practice plans. And this is the basic. Now you can obviously add more to this, take away from it, however you'd want, but this is just the basic rules that I follow. So as you can see, we have a day one install here, and this is for the air raid offenses. With this, I am kind of a 3-day install guy. So what I do is I try and do install as much as I possibly can into those 3 days with all the base offense that I want. And then from there, 4 or 5 days, 4, 5, and 6 are basically just going to be repeat of excuse me, of what we went over days 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, there's going to be some times where we're gonna plug in some defensive stuff and some special teams things, which you will see. But for the most part, it's going to be rinse and repeat. Day 4 is going to be a rinse and repeat of day 1. Day 5 is going to be the same as day 2. Day 6 is going to be the same as day 3. And so you're going to kind of just reinstall everything. And so I just go based on that. And then once that is done, then obviously you get into your weekly uh, game planning, your weekly practice schedules. But I feel that practice schedules obviously are a huge proponent to having a successful team. You got to have a plan. Um, I've tried, going through coaching without a plan, saying, "Hey, I'm just going to wing it, do this, and this." It just never really worked out, because if you have a set schedule, okay, I want to do this for 10 minutes, this for 5 minutes, this for 15, whatever it might be. You really knock it out, you keep an eye on the clock, and you can get a lot accomplished. So, with that being said, day one, here we are. So, what I started with, again, when I was doing middle school and things like that, now that I'm in high school, it's a little bit different. But I started off with warm-up lines, just trying to get everybody in order in a quick 5 minutes, and then we would go into, and this is a lot of teaching here. So day one was a lot of teaching for us because we had to teach these drills. So the settle up drill, settle up and noose. So all linebackers, running backs, and wide receivers, or excuse me, quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, we were teaching them the settle up and noose drill. So we had the bags, the cones. You go back and look at the everyday drills that I do on this series, and you can go back and watch that if you don't know what that is. O-line was doing the 5-man sled, so basically they were just working on teaching the stance, teaching how to fire out with their hands, being aggressive with their hands, hand placement, fire out drill. So they're basically working on the 5-man sled. If you don't have one of that, then use if you got hand shields, you can use hand shields with the guys. And then from there, go 10 minutes into a pat and go session, teaching pat and go with the quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs, and then just basically teaching some basic routes and just having them go through it. Basically, again, day one is basically saying, we go here, this is how we do this. It's a lot of teaching, a lot of teaching. So you are just basically showing. So it's kind of slower paced, in my opinion, because you're kind of going through it and you are saying, you go here, this is how you do it, this is how we expect it. And then obviously day 2 and day 3, and from there on, it's going to be much faster because it's really got to do, because you're going to explain that some of these drills are every day. So you're going to go here every single day. They start to understand it, and it moves much faster. Day one's going to be slow. There's no getting around that because it's a lot of teaching. So at that same time, O-line is working on vertical drops. They're learning how to do those vertical sets, whatever you want to call them. Then we would go into a water transition period. First platoon period for day one would be installing formations. I basically try to use this period to just show the basic formations. So ace for me would be a 2x2 set. And then early and late. So I would show all my 2x2 sets and my 3x1 sets, my base 3x1 sets, just right there to show, hey, this is where you line up. You would have kids come out there and run it. So it's 15 minutes. You're just showing the formations. Show distance where they're going to be lined up as far as hash marks and numbers, and how the distance. You're going to show your lineman splits on this as well. So you're covering a lot of information, and the guys need to be, I tell the kids they need to be like sponges. They need to soak everything in. And so that because you're going to be given a lot of information these first 3 days. So there I install all three of my formations right there, my base formations. Obviously, we use more than just three formations, but those base formations that we use are being installed day one, showing them, exactly this is where I want you. This is where, the X goes, this is where the H goes, this is where the Y, the Z, wherever they may be, this is how they lined up. Okay. And then from there, we go in and we are now quarterbacks and running backs are installing GT counter. Receivers go into a little bit of an indie drill with a stock block intro. So they're learning how to stock block on this. So then obviously linemen are installing counter. So we have the quarterbacks, running backs, and linemen together. And then next thing we'll be doing is with our receivers and quarterbacks, we would be installing our Read and Lisa, which is our bubble screen. And then running backs were with the linemen working and repping kind of counter reps. And then from there, we would move into an installation period with the quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs installing four verts, which is our main passing play. This is more of a choice pass play because you have all the choice routes. So we would install four verts. And when I install four verts, day one, I'm showing them how to do it out of 2x2 and 3x1 on the same day. So it's a lot of me running around with my head cut off, screaming around, showing, hey, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, and explaining a lot of explanation. Okay, then linemen here are going back into their vertical drops, and then we get into routes on air, which is just four verts. Same thing with all these guys; they're all routes on air. So many quarterbacks you can have, throwing them as many footballs as you possibly can. So if you have two quarterbacks, go your outside, your inside guys, throw to your outside guys, throw to your inside guys, then throw to the backs. And keep moving on from there. And then from there would be rep GT. So they would just be repping their pulling assignments and blocking assignments of the O-line. And then last 10 minutes would be an offensive script. So we would just go down here and just run down a script down here that I put in. And again, this is just very, very generic here. You can add more to it, but it's basically just going down the plays that we installed the day one. Okay, here's a routes on air script. So it's really not much to it. It's very, very basic. Again, this can all be changed. This is just a basic, very, very vanilla format that I follow. So this would be day one. This is for a 2-hour practice time. So 2 hours. All right, so this is day two here. We got, again, warm-up lines here, settle up drill, same thing. These are all the same right here. Again, these drills get a little bit faster each day. With Pat and Go, you can stay with the same routes, or you can also kind of start beginning to teach the route you may be installing that day. So, for example, we are going to be installing stick and corner. We might show them how to run the stick route, have them run the stick route and the corner route as well, and the slant and sitter or snag route. And so then we do that for the first. And now you will see that these times for some of these sessions do shrink down after we get the hang of it. But again, keeping those sessions a little bit longer at the beginning just so they get used to it helps, in my opinion. And obviously, you can toy around with these sessions to make them fit. Okay, you can remove some stuff, add some stuff. You can see I got like a 20-minute session in here for day two, and I'll get that here in a minute. So we go into a water transition session right here. Then we go into our second platoon period, which is again just reviewing formations. This is where I would be having them calling kids out. Okay, I want you to go show me where H lines up in early, show me where X lines up in ace, and just going back and forth with that, just kind of just testing them, because in my opinion, if they can't mentally tell you, then they're not going to be able to physically do it. So you really have to teach them and have their brain understand it before they can really physically do it on the field. That's a philosophy of mine. And so that's why you hear football is more mental than it is physical. That's because they have to understand what they are doing. If they don't understand what they're doing or why they're doing, they can't tell you what they're doing. So you got to make sure that they understand it. So then we go into an install period. So running backs, quarterbacks, and inside our O-line are installing our inside zone. And receivers are learning how to run corner routes and stick routes. Again, you could also cover that in Pat and Go a little bit for that day. So then a 20-minute period, since we are, in my opinion, stick and corner are very, very closely related. So we would install both on the same day. It's just easy to do it that way. So quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, we are installing the quick game for stick and corner out of all three formations. So, well, really two formations, because early and later basically just mirrors of each other, just opposite sides. Um, so installing stick and corner in the quick game. Linemen are getting better at vertical drops or vertical sets. And then from there, we install the tunnel screen. This is a team version or team portion since the linemen are involved. So we teach them how to screen. So it's basically just our screen period here, teaching the linemen how to release, what they're looking for. Receivers, we're teaching everybody their responsibilities. We're going through it. It's about 10 minutes. And then we go into another transition break, and then another 10 minutes, quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. We are installing our shallow cross, our drop back. So installing shallow cross, excuse me. Uh, they are reviewing inside zone blocking schemes. Basically, they're double teams, and then they go right into combo drill here. So we start working on the combo drill because that meshes with the inside zone, because we are trying to find those double teams in our inside zone running scheme. So it helps there. So we just give them different scenarios in the combination drill right there. All the while, we're doing routes on air right here. And then we get in a team. Typically, by this point, I try to get two groups going. So we have one group, give them a play, have them run that play, and this is all on air. And then they run sprint down like 20 yards, and then the next group runs their that same play, and then they sprint down, and then and I give another play, and that first group does the play and runs back the other way 20 yards, and we just keep doing that back and forth, trying to get as many reps as possible for 15 minutes there. And you can see here is our offensive script for that day, for that basic days. Again, it's just very, very basic, covering the plays that we are going over, and that's it. Just talking about those plays, and that's it. No other plays. Again, this is all subject to change. This is just a very, very vanilla basic plan, but this is what it would be like on day 2. So as you can see, here's day 3. Everything in the top here is still the same. Time limits are still about the same. We go into our water and our platoon periods and install in motion. So I start showing different motions that we use, our shift motions, our fast motions. So start going over that, just showing them what they look like. So that's about 10 minutes, just showing them there, having some kids run through it. Because by that point, especially in the early few practices, you are almost figuring out who your best athletes are. So you start using them as examples because they can typically show it better, and teaching the younger kids a little bit better because they can see it, because like, obviously kids nowadays are more visual learners than anything. All right, so then we go into our install. So we install our jet run, so our jet sweep, but we also show that we pair it with the GT and zone. So we put that all in. So we're using our quarterbacks, receivers, and running. We have all receivers running the jet, because eventually we will put in pass plays off the jet too. But for the time being, we are working on just having every receiver rep the jet sweep, because we want to see who's the best at doing it. Because obviously this is only day 3. We don't really have a full fix on our team yet, exactly who's going to be where. So we're still just trying to feel everybody out and understand where they best fit. So quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs are installing that. All the while, linemen, they are just repping counter and zone blocks. So they just kind of walk through and go through them. Next thing is quarterbacks and receivers and running backs are installing our Y cross, our drop back pass. So, and then linemen are working on vertical drops. Then we go in and we kind of just we call it a jet drill. So we're just working on timing and fakes. And so just trying to get the timing right with the quarterback and the receiver. All the while, the linemen there are working on their combo drill right there. Moving on here, we're going and we're going to install shallow cross again. We're going to kind of talk about shallow cross again, because I just feel like I needed to cover it a little bit more. So I kind of split shallow cross up into 2 days here. So as you can see, it's in there twice. It was in there for day 2 and day 3. It's a good play, but it in my opinion takes a long time to discuss. Now you'll notice I don't install mesh right here. This is kind of just basic for a um, a middle school, I guess you would say, practice plan here is as basic as it possibly can get. Uh, so here we have while we're going back over shallow cross, we have our showing our multiple fronts that we might see against GT counter and what the blocking schemes and what they're for. Routes on air with shallow cross and wide cross here. We do a pull drill, just having them rep pulling, getting out of their stance and pulling across. Try not to get too much depth in the backfield. Then we go into team offense for about 10 minutes here, and this would be the script. Again, we try and do two groups if we can, maybe even three groups, and just have them run through these as fast as possible, going through this script. And if you get through the entire script, then you go back through it again. All right, so now we are in day 4 here. And you can see some of the time things have changed here. So we shrunk the cell news drill down to 5 minutes here. Kept pat and go at 10 minutes because I like to have them get as many catches as they possibly can here. So now what's changed here a little bit is so now we're going to start incorporating a little bit of defense. So my defensive coach at this point during platoon period would be basically just showing a base defense. So he'd be showing them the base defense, where they line up, how they line up, not really putting in too many, obviously major blitz packages or anything like that, or stunts or anything like that, or slants, but basic responsibilities for each defensive player, their gaps, responsibilities, who they're reading, who they're keying in on. So he's going over all that in 15 minutes, and then we go into a little defensive indie session. So we break it up into the linebackers, DBs, and D line, kind of put them in that. Then we go in and we have about a 15 minute defensive period. So then that's team defense there. So kind of again, just bringing them back together, going over the base defense. At that point, he might be putting in a blitz or two, showing different coverages, what we might be covering, maybe what DBs might be going against as far as coverages against multiple receivers to their side and how we would cover that. So then we would, after that, go into a 10-minute screen drill. So repeating the screen drill here would be for day 1 would have been Reed and Lisa. They're repping running backs, and O-line are repping their GT counter. Then we'd break into a open, not open drill, I call it, for the forward. So basically you just put out receivers, and then you put out defensive players, and the defensive players just need to make sure that they are just giving the offensive player, the receiver, and the quarterback a read as far as the forwards, because it's a choice drill whether they have a hitch or they have a vertical. So we would maybe do the outside guys first and the inside. It would almost be like a routes on air kind of thing. And the quarterback would read that defender, and the defender would just change up the positioning. So he'd either be lined up pretty close to give the quarterback a read and the receiver a read, or he'd line up back and give him that hitch read. So we'd go through that 10 minutes. Another 10 minutes is just routes on air. So we basically could just combine those. And then it's 20 minutes team offense. And you see, I shortened it down here. I didn't put a script in here for the second group, but all versus GT counter, you can start mixing in motion. That because we talked about motion, we installed some motion, so we kind of review some of the motions. You can put those in and still run your forwards, pass play. You can motion into running game, motion into a screen, but put motion into it because in my opinion, motion is a huge part of the offense. So I like to try and mix the motion in as much as I possibly can. So that would be essentially day 4 right there. All right, so again, we've mixed in some defense here. We started putting in a little bit of defense. Don't want to ignore it, obviously. Now, there are special points for defense and special teams throughout the weekly practice plan that I follow. So typically what we would do is mainly do offensive days and defensive days, and then we'd have a walkthrough days. So now we are at day 5 here. Again, everything here is all the same. 5 minutes still there. Now we go into a platoon period. We have our kickoff and kick return install. So we're kind of just basically showing the basic stuff for the kickoff and kick return, where they line up, what their responsibilities are, how to stay in their lanes, and what their lanes are and what their landmarks are as far as their lanes with kickoff, and basically setting up our return, how we set up our return. And if you want me to cover that in a future video, how I kind of set up a return, let me know. It's very very basic. You know, so it's really easy to follow, and it's not something that's entirely hard at all. So here, our screen drill right here, we would be doing tunnel screen here. So again, we'd have the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and linemen. They would be working on um, the tunnel screen here. With swing drill here, this is basically just have a coach or somebody just have them running just swing routes. So for 10 minutes, just have them run swing routes. You can also do bags or whatever it might be here. Just to keep the running backs busy because obviously they're not too involved entirely in the tunnel screen. So we would be doing that. So stick drill, corner drill here, as you can see. These are just the drills to rep the corner, give the quarterback a read here. So we follow that simple rule of if the quarterback goes or if that defender stays in, we throw out. If he goes out, we throw in. So we put a defender out there and tell the defender to choose whether he chooses the receiver or the running back, or if we were going to do it 3-by-1, have the defender choose the inside or outside guy, or inside or middle guy for the stick drill. We'd also have our outside receivers running their vertical, so we'd basically have two quarterbacks. We'd have one quarterback just throw the vert, so they're automatically getting a throw. With the corner, we have to add one more defender in there because there's one more read. So would rep through that about 10 minutes each. Uh, they're working on linemen working on combo drill again, inside zone reps against multiple fronts here. So they're kind of switching those up here. So we're talking about inside zone. This is an inside zone type of day here. So they would be going through that. Then we go into a routes on air for 15 minutes with just stick and corner, different formations. I put offense into here for the O lineman. You can kind of pick and choose what kind of drill you want the offensive lineman to be doing here, whether it be vertical drops, if you want to work more on that, whatever they need work on. Kickoff here, so we'd have our main skill guys kind of working on kickoff and kick return reps here, so kind of repeating what we went over here and kind of just going through some live reps. And you can have the lineman doing defensive indie as far as defensive line drill here. And 15 minutes here of team offense, kind of just going over the plays that we talked about. So again, inside zone, stick and corner, and screen for the day, which would have been tunnel screen. And again, mixing in the motions. I like the motion. So shifting from a 2-by-2 to 3-by-1, or vice versa, 3-by-1 to 2-by-2, fast motions, whatever it might be, putting those in there for that. So that would be day 5. And here's day 6. So this will be the last day. As you can see, the days 4 through 6 they reinstall here. So again, days 1, 2, 3 are the main install days, and then these are kind of like the review days. So we have our warm-up lines again. You can see all this is still basically the same here. It hasn't changed. Our platoon period, now we're putting in our punt and punt return. Our screen drill for the day. It could be Randy or Larry because we put that in as well. We have our GT counter reps here, so we're kind of repping counter again. We have our jet drill here, so we're kind of just working on that timing with the jet, quarterbacks and running backs. Sometimes we would do the fakes. Sometimes we would fake the inside zone or counter, or we would actually fake the jet and then hand off the counter. So we kind of work on all of that inside that period right there, kind of just working on it, but it's just about timing. Then we would go over and review the shallow cross and wide cross with our skill guys, and linemen are working on vertical drops. And then we have a routes on air period here for 10 minutes of shallow and wide cross. And then we'd have punt and punt return reps here. And we would have and I sometimes have my offensive lineman here doing a tunnel screen release drill. So they're just kind of releasing, getting to their landmarks, getting outside, creating that alleyway for the receiver to run through. And again, going through their positions or their responsibilities on who they're supposed to be responsible for when they release. Then we go into a team offense here for about 15 minutes, going through basically the plays that we were talking about today, and then finishing up here with the last 10 minutes of practice with a defensive indie session. Okay, so that is the basic first 6 days that I would follow on any practice schedule here for this is basically just like a middle school. This would obviously be changed a little bit more detailed for high school, but you can obviously use this format for a basic high school set. Um, so these are the 6 days that I would follow. Again, any of this stuff is interchangeable based on what you want to use. So this is the final episode of the series. So I hope this stuff helped. I hope these videos helped. I hope this practice schedule here. This is kind of what I follow. Um, again, if you want this basic template that I have here, I believe I have it right down here. This template right here. Let me know and I can send it to you. Also, I will be offering my services to help any coaches that need help kind of building their program because I did just help one coach out in Colorado, and I'm gonna be posting those videos just showing you what we did and what we talked about and how we went through each one of them. If you want that kind of help, let me know too. I'll be more than happy to help any coach out that needs to help or get a better idea of how they want to do it and what they want to do as far as the air raid offense or even the spread offense in general. Be more than happy to help because again, I took a leap down this rabbit hole a while back and have never regretted it ever since. I love it, and now I want to return the favor because I had coaches helping me. Now I want to return the favor and help out any coaches I possibly can. So, um, thank you again for watching the series. Those of you that have watched it from episode 1 to episode 20, it's been a long series, the longest series that I've ever done. I try to get it done on time. Like I said, I was going to try to stick to a deadline. So I apologize if I'm a little late for some of y'all, best I could. So thank you for watching. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you like these videos, give them a like. And I look forward to seeing you all in the future.